This is my list of the best heavyweights around right now, a top 10 list. Now, I've probably left out a lot of good boxers because there are a lot of good boxers around right now. There always is. One person that might complain a lot about is David Haye not being on this list at all. It's not because I don't think David Haye is a really good boxer. It's not because I don't think he can be a top 10 fighter again. It's just down to him not fighting a good enough opponent to prove it yet. David Haye, best opponent he's fought so far in his comeback is Arnold Jauregui, and Arnold Jauregui was just ranked in the top 30. Yes, he was undefeated, but he was just in the top 30. Wasn't that experienced a heavyweight, and we've seen how he managed to react to Haye when he actually got put under that pressure. So he's got a fight coming up with Shannon Briggs. Even if he beats Briggs, I still wouldn't put him in the top 10 list. I think it could be a while before he fights a good enough opponent for me to actually put him in the top 10 list. And I really do like David Haye. He's very fast, great punching power, great skilled boxer, amazing footwork, but I just can't put him in this list right now. So I'll start with the number 10 I have on the list is Carlos Takam. Really good solid win against Tony Thompson not so long ago now. And Tony Thompson was in the top 10 just last year. He's got a very good resume, very quick, very powerful. Obviously, he doesn't have the same kind of power as Anthony Joshua or Wladimir or a Wilder, but he's still a very powerful heavyweight. Brian Jennings, I've got as number 9. Very skilled defensive fighter. He might prove to be a lot better than a lot of people are giving him credit for right now. I mean, a lot of people look at him and think, oh, well, Luis Ortiz beat him, Vladimir Klitschko beat him. He's not got any chance of getting to be a proper world champion, be a number 1 world champion. But, he can learn from them losses. And he did perform very well against Ortiz and Vladimir, even though he lost against them. He's got a really good win against Mike Perez. He beat Artur Szpilka more convincingly than anyone else has beat him before, so you've got to give him some credit for that. Number 8 on the list, I have Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is looking really good, 100% knockout rate. The only boxer that has given him any problems at all so far is Dillian Whyte, and he looks like he's going to be a really good heavyweight. He's got an IBF belt. A lot of people have high hopes for him, but his opponents haven't been the best so far. He hasn't beat anyone that's a really good, experienced heavyweight that's been at that top level for a long time. And even after he beats Brazil, then I still don't see that changing. So I think he'll be number 8 for a little while now. Joseph Parker, I've put him in at number 6. And Joseph Parker number 7, Joseph Parker number 7. The reason being he's beat Carlos Takam. Carlos Takam's in my top 10 list, he's in a lot of people's top 10 list. He was a really solid fighter, and he was in every single person's top 10 list just last year. And Carlos Takam, experienced guy, really good, strong heavyweight, so getting a win against Carlos Takam is worth a lot more than just fighting some of the lower ranked guys, and that's why I put Parker above Joshua. I've got Pulev in number 6 position. Pulev's an extremely underrated fighter, great jab, he's very quick, good footwork, not a power puncher, but he's a very highly skilled fighter right now that's underrated. He's got quite a few good wins on his resume. Tony Thompson, who, just like I said, was in the top 10 last year. Alexander Ditrimenko, and he beat Alexander Ditrimenko when he was a really good top 10 heavyweight as well. He's also fought some lower ranked people like Alexander Ustinov. He's just got quite a good win against Derek Chisora in his last fight, who's a solid top 15 fighter. So Pulev definitely deserves to be where he is, or maybe actually a bit higher than I've put him now I think about it. Number 5, I have Deontay Wilder. Good win against Bermane Stiverne. Stiverne was the number 5 in Ring Magazine last year. He had a win over Chris Arreola, and people don't really give Chris Arreola much credit right now, but Arreola was looked at as a good fighter at the time. So Wilder's got a good win over him. He's fought some decent heavyweights. Uh, I mean, Malk Scott's doing quite well right now, but the win over that was quite questionable. But he's in number 5. I put Luis Ortiz in at number 4. Now, the reason I have Ortiz over Deontay Wilder is because he's got 2 really good wins against top 10 fighters. Tony Thompson obviously being one of them, and Brian Jennings. And Jennings is a really good, skilled defensive fighter, really good work rate, very determined, very motivated. And Jennings has fought some really good heavyweights and gave him a good fight as well, like Wladimir Klitschko, like Luis Ortiz. He beat Mike Perez. Ortiz definitely deserved that number 4 spot. Alexander Povetkin, number 3. Great resume, been around for a long time, proved himself at the top time and time again. Got a lot of power, very confident in himself, very determined. Shows a lot of heart. He used to show some stamina problems, but he seemed to always work through it and fight right to the very end. Very skilled fighter, 4-time gold medalist, won an Olympic gold medal, in the World Championships gold medal, 2 European gold medals. Good wins against Bryant Jennings, who was the number 1 fighter in the world at the time. Also got some really good wins against Eddie Chambers, Carlos Takam again, who's in my top 10 list. Ruslan Jagayev, Hasan Rahman, but obviously an older version of Rahman as well. Manuel Char, Mike Perez again. Povetkin's proved himself over and over again, and he's very underrated, which is it's sad and it's a pity. But unless he really does get a good win against someone that holds a belt, he's never going to get the credit he deserves. Wladimir Klitschko is number 2, obviously, just beaten by Tyson Fury. Wladimir, obviously has been fighting the mandatories one after another for 10 years now, proving himself that he's the best. Eventually his mandatory was Tyson Fury and he got beat, so extremely good footwork, tall heavyweight, fast hands, amazing, freakish power. He deserves the number 2 spot though. Just like I said, he was number 1 just before his last loss, so you can't really fault him for being number 2. Now Tyson Fury, you got to give him the number 1 spot because he just beat the number 1 guy around, the champion. So Tyson Fury has got good wins over Derek Chisora. Just like I say, a solid top 15 guy. He arguably beat Chisora better than any other fighter. You could possibly say David Haye might have beat him better. David Haye also won every single round. I think from looking at that fight though, David Haye had a bit more trouble with Derek Chisora. Was a bit more tired going through that fight than Tyson Fury was. But David Haye obviously did get that knockout and stopped Derek Chisora far faster than Tyson Fury. But Fury's fought some really good heavyweights, some decent heavyweights. The best ones he's beat are Derek Chisora and Wladimir Klitschko, but since Wladimir Klitschko was the number 1 heavyweight, fighting the best guys around for 10 years, you've got to give him the number 1 spot, and he's also the unified champion, so that's my top 10 list. A lot of people will probably disagree with that in some places, but I think I've ranked it quite well and gave good reasoning.